Hey, good afternoon, everyone. How y'all doing? I see that Prof is trying to convince his people that that bullet in Richard Allen's chest was there. That little chest was there, and it was planted. That's how it was found. The bullet was found. Why would they want to plant a bullet that one, if that they have no access to his where Rich Allen's uh, gun safe is. They would have to ask for that first before doing that. They have photos of taking pictures that was already in there and stuff. But let me show you something here. Let me get to it here. Hold on. Hey Mustang, how you doing? Let me get to something I just uh, found here. Hold on, let me find it here. I got to get to it first. Um, I'll get this one. Okay, so let me show you something. All right, so we're going to share the screen. So, okay, this is where the bullet is, okay? They're claiming, props claiming, that the officers put this in his little chest on his nightstand, okay? But they're all just complaining about this little bullet here. Now, the question is, I know Grismatic showed me a map of the creek that he got from someplace, okay? So if I zoom in, hold on. Let me zoom in if I can get zoomed in here. Okay, here we go. Oh crap! No, that's not what I want. Go back. Hold on. I'll go back here. So if we go back to where that was, it's a little map. All right, so if we zoom in, you see that little map? That's the creek. It says, Rick, you are mean, but I can't read the rest, but since it's folded over. But this is that's the creek. I remember the markings that Grismatic um, um, showed. He's got a creek, but why is he got a little map in there with the same? That's the creek. That's water. He drew water on the creek area. Whatever this is, why is this in that little chest? What does Rick, you are blank mean? But the blank goes on missing. But this here is a creek. He drew a creek. Now, why would he have a drawing of the creek? Because that's the bin in the creek part. That's the bin in the creek. That's a drawing of a creek. See, they don't talk about that, do they? So why would they have that particular photo drawing of a creek? That's the bend of the creek. That's how the bend of the creek of Deer Creek is. That's the bend of that creek. They all worry about that bullet was framed, but that bullet wasn't framed. They didn't put that bullet in there. They took a picture of that particular chest before they touched it. And so his title, here it is. This is what I found. I found it. Well, guess what? What? You just worry about that little bullet. Yeah, I'm still alive, Jason. I'm still alive. Did you see that photo I put up, Jason? Let me know if you don't. I'll put it back up. Okay? Yeah, they're only worried about that bullet was framed. He was framed with that bullet. But people still think it's Ron Logan, but it's not Ron Logan. The officers went through every single thing through that entire house, took his truck. That was in the news. Okay, let me show it to you, Jason. All right, let me show it to you. This, Jason, you see this? That's a curve in the bin of the creek. Why would he have a photo of the bin in the creek? It says 1 and 3. That's his handwriting. Why would somebody have this bin? It says Rick. So everybody's worrying about just the bullet here. Nothing else. There's gloves right there. His support for the troops, his watch, Harley owner group. See, this proves he had a motorcycle. Where did it go? Like I said at the beginning, he had a motorcycle. He was dressed to ride a motorcycle that day. He was dressed to ride that motorcycle that day. That's what he was wearing, a windbreaker. But this is a drawing of the creek. That's a curve in the creek. That's water right there. There's waves of water. Now, tell me, why would he have that particular drawing? Why would he have that particular drawing in that little chest? But everybody's worrying about that bullet in the chest. He was framed. Well, no, he wasn't framed. That's how they found the twist in the stories. Exactly. Yes, Jason. And then how they're twisting it, saying, oh, the cops put it there. No, they take a photo first before doing it. Why is the black gloves in there? And stuff. So, see, they only care about that little bullet, but they didn't want to see anything else. That was in there, in that box. And stuff. Like I said, this is where they want to change the narrative and talk about, not talking about this. They don't care about this part. They care about this little bullet that was framed. They claim that the sheriff and the law enforcement put this in there to frame him. Was they there? Was they there? The question, what were they there to know that was put in there by the law enforcement? No. Were they there to search his house? No. They took photos and cameras with them to film everything. Where's the film? They film everything and cameras. So this is all in that little box. But this is interesting. Why would he have a photo drawing of a creek? That's a bin in the creek. Waves are water. Rick, you are blank, mean, but you something. And there's numbers 1 and 3. And whatever this is up here, I couldn't tell. But that's in there. Then, of course, you have a photo in there, too. A bunch of people in his chest. Yeah, why else would he have that? Exactly. And it's a curve in the river, and that's what it is. That's a bend of a creek. And the other, look, it's our land. landmass. They're land. So these are land. Because this is land. It's showing right here is land. This is land 2. That's land there. And this here is land. And it goes around the creek right here. That's water. Why would he have that? Why it's number 1 and 3 and whatever this is up here? And letter. Why would he have that in that little box? So why? Why would he? Why would that particular drawing is in that box? See, Charismatic showed me a drawing at the beginning. Thought it belongs to somebody. Makes me think tree plant. So why? Was he actually listening to? We know he had a fake account to talk to the girls online. Now, why would he have a fake account? He has a fake account. We know he's got a fake account to talk to these girls online. And he's pretending to be a girl in the first place. Now, why was he pretending to be a girl in the first place? We know that he did that. That was in the news a long time ago when this whole thing got started. Once he got arrested, things were calming up using a lot of fake accounts. But these people seem to not want to register, but they want to think, oh, they framed Richard Allen for that bullet. Well, why don't you ask yourself, where did that photo drawing come from? Ask yourself, why is there a creek drawing of the bin in the creek? And shows land in between the creek. 2 different landmarks. Land. The big one would be like the hills. Totally. And where it goes around, it will be where the Weber's land property is. And we know he owned a motorcycle because it shows on here that he was part of a motorcycle group. Yeah, Jason, if that would be like if you robbed the bank and the police found a drawing of that layout of the bank at my house, LOL, yeah. So it's just mind-boggling that all they worry about is that little bullet, the magic bullet that's they think is this bullet was planted. This bullet was planted. See, Harley owner group. He's got a patch for Harley. So he had a motorcycle. Sport group wristband. Black gloves. Was he wearing black gloves that day? We don't know yet. It'd be very questionable if he was. Louis didn't have a chance to film if he didn't take his hands out of his pockets. But there's a lot of things in here. It's strange he's got in here, especially on this one. Here's the creek in the bin. Land right here. Well, you know what that is. And there's land right here. So, yes, that's correct, Mustang. They didn't mention all the facts, only what works for their narrative, and then their subs believe every word of it. Yep, that's true, Mustang. That is true. So, why they don't care about that photo of the drawing in that box that was found? And try and frame, yeah, that's another thing. They're trying to frame Ron Logan, but he's been through every single question. They question the same questions to Richard Allen. And that's why that guy who was a roommate with Ron Logan knew it was a box cutter because they told him in the interview it was a box cutter. They told Ron Logan, this is what we found, this type of box cutter, but the knives he had did not match the grooves of the cut. Ron Logan has all kinds of different knives. And the knives that he had did not match the grooves of the cut of Libby. I guess they're all stupid about it. There's grooves when you cut somebody with a knife, someone through the neck of the bone, there's grooves from a knife. They can match those grooves to a knife. That particular box cutter, somebody bought their own box cutter. Those people are not really thinking very well because they know there's grooves on a knife that will match the killer's knife. Now you realize that they would take knives from CVS to prove that is what exactly they use at CVS. And they would ask Richard Allen, where did he get his box cutter knife? Did he buy it? Anybody can buy a certain type of box cutter at certain sporting goods stores, especially at gun stores like they're selling. They're always having hunting stores. They can go to Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, find that particular knife that Rich Allen said, oh, this is that, or go to Harbor Freight. They go to these places that do have box cutters. If the company allows them to bring their own box cutter, then yes, they can. But by the rules, you have to use what CVS box cutters are used. You have to get approval to get a box cutter to be used of your own. If you don't like theirs, you have to get approved. Rich Allen didn't have that box cutter anymore, like they said. So they would know, they would gone through their directions of how it links. And the question is still again, are they care about that little drawing in that little chest? It has Rick's name on that little piece of paper. And it's very interesting. Why is there a creek between two masses of land? Small that goes around Weber's land, and the big one. The big one would be like a hill. How he make in between those that creek drawing. So they only care about that magic bullet. They think that the cops, Mr. Holman, found. Were they there? See, that's the problem. They wasn't there. They wasn't with them. It's like somebody on 3D. We can watch the police go into these people's homes and film live of looking at evidence before they ever got, is that possible? Maybe one day. You can turn on your TV and follow the police cam going into investigation to see to make sure it's real. But that's particular. They only care about the little bullet, but I think they miss the point of missing the mystery photo drawing. Did they? Don't care. But that'd be interesting to see what it is on that piece of paper. Why is there a drawing of a creek going around the bend on a land that be the Weber's property? You know? Yeah, I'm drawing my blanket. Get under 3 blankets. Yeah, that kept me warm last night. Triple a blanket. But yeah, it's interesting. They see everything else in that little thing. They talk about the bullet, trying to say it's been they frame Rich Allen. They don't take nothing out until they picture it. Take a picture, then they take it out of the box. Then they put it in the bag. Well, the officer had that bullet. They were getting ready to put it in the bag. So they took a picture again. Richard Allen bullets scattered all over that place. In that shed. Why he had photos of in that shed? Why did he keep photos of the girls? All these different girls he ran photos. See, once he, as a photographer, to print those off, he can reprint them and still give them to the family, any family. He can reprint those photos, certain ones. So if he had these photos of teenage girls in bathing suits from their vacation, summer vacation, spring vacation, oh yeah, they're all going over all their different places in Florida, California. We're all warm. You're missing the point. It's like that movie, photographer, I can't think what it is, but Ron Williams was in. He was a photographer taking photos, copy them, keep them. So, yeah, he's hiding. He's getting off on the women, these girls that are underage who went to Florida, California, beach for the spring, the summer vacations. He did develop those photos for people who lived in that county and beyond. So you're really missing the point. He saw these women, these teenage girls, vacation photos and bikinis and more. Yeah, 1 hour photo. Yep. They're missing the point. He's been looking at these teenage girls for years. He can reprint them. Doesn't stop him from reprint these photos. After giving them the family, he can still go in there and reprint them. It's still locked in the system. He didn't erase them until they leave. So, how many of those photos? I don't see the fence team show those photos of teenagers that he developed. Now, the prosecutor could have said, hey, these are the photos we have that he print these girls off. This is what he was looking at. This is what came from CBS that he had in boxes. But they surely don't want to bring every single one of those girls come in. The whole entire town would know he did that. Seeing their kids in bathing suits and stuff. That's why he made up a false name, become a girl online, and talked to these girls that came in. He knew exactly the addresses. He knew who they were. Yep, that's true, Mustang. So, I thought I'd bring attention to this. They really don't care. Evidence. They have more evidence. They could have brought every single one of those girls in from what he had in taking photos of those teenagers in spring and summer vacation, because he was be able to print those photos off, and then he could reprint them after he put them away. I wish they did, and that would put him away permanently, because the juries will say, "Hey, look, these are what he's been doing, keeping photos that he prints off for the family of these girls who went on vacation, summer and spring vacation." So just remember, there are evidence they kept, but they want to make sure no other family of their daughters would be hurt. Come out, protect them. It would be pretty much harder to protect them. But why did the defense team didn't ask for those photos? Huh? Why? Why didn't they ask for those photos? It's a very good question. So, hey, thanks for all coming, Jason and Mustang. Thanks for coming. Just think about it. Think about those photos he took. What he had in that shed. Prosecutor could have showed him, but he's being respectful for that family, since he printed off photos for all and everybody that he saw come in and pick those up and look at those girls. When they come in and pick up their photos in CVS was the only store prints off photos. But thanks for coming. I appreciate it. You have a nice day. Stay warm. I'll try to. And try to fix this aneurysm and heart problem. So I'll talk to you guys a little later. Have a good evening. Bye now.